Hello and good afternoon, Xbox Nation. Welcome to this week's new episode of the Xbox Factor Podcast. I'm your host, Mr. BoomStick XL. Folks, we have a three-headed monster for topics, including Gears of War, which, again, folks, the voice actors, ladies and gentlemen, for Coltrane and Dominic, or Dom as we know, have been tweeting about Gears of War E-Day out of nowhere. We're going to get into who brought that to attention and what's happening later this week that might actually kind of shed some light as to what could actually be happening. Now, we're going to then segue into a report that came the way last week where we have it confirmed that People Can Fly, who is currently working on an Xbox exclusive, have now been tasked to work with PlayStation on an exclusive. What that exclusive is, we don't know, but I have some thoughts and some theories as to what I think could happen. One thing I hope doesn't happen, and we will get into it. And lastly, folks, the Starfield noise is starting to get louder and louder, and we have some information, basically a confirmation that not only is our Xbox gamers like us going to be getting some big news later this year regarding what's happening with Starfield for 2025. Folks, we got to basically confirm that it is launching for PlayStation 5 later this year. And that report comes the way of something that was found by the sleuth known as himself. Of course, that is Post Up. Post Up has been a tremendous member of this community. He was a real big voice during the ABK trials. And he actually posted something where it's literally a document that says PlayStation 5 along with Series X and S and PC. We're going to get into all of these topics and we're going to get there. But before we do, ladies and gentlemen, we got to welcome in our panel, Jamie Moran. Good morning or good afternoon for you, sir. How you feeling?
Hey, man, happy to be here. So, I'm very confused because the clocks went back in the US and not in the UK yet. So, like, my entire brain is thrown off. It's scrambled egg all over again. But I'm happy to be here. It's been a great week for gaming news, man. Like, I love we got Starfield stuff to talk about. Gears of War. I adore that franchise, man. I adore Gears of War. And it's been a long time since we've had anything new to play when it comes to Gears. So, I'm excited, man. All good. Let's talk about it.
Yeah, we're going to be feasting this year. I got a thought and theory as to what's happening in June. We'll get into that momentarily. But our brother from Chi-Town, which of course it's still early there. It is the morning. Good morning to you, kind sir. Welcome. How you feeling, Infant Umbra?
Oh, I'm feeling all right. I got a little energy on me today. What's up,
You certainly sounded. That is for sure.
Yeah, you hear this magnificent melanin popping through this vocal cord of mine. I'm feeling all right. How y'all feeling today?
I'm good, man. We got a lot to get into. 90 minutes of just big Xbox talk, some PlayStation talk in there as well, because there is some thoughts and some theories as to what's happening with People Can Fly. There are some confirmations that we're going to go over regarding Starfield. I mean, folks, I've been saying this since January. The Starfield announcement is upon us. Now, when that game is releasing, I personally think it's going to be at its 2-year anniversary in September. We as Xbox fans should be getting the second round of DLC in the form of an expansion called Starborn. That had leaked last year. We'll see. But yeah, glad to have you here, brother. Glad that you have energy and glad that you are ready to rock and roll.
Absolutely. I had I guess just to give a bit of a heads up, I had played through Yes It Is I, Ray Old. It always seems like Ray Old, but it's Ray Old.
Yeah.
I played through with that blue number. I played through Split Fiction.
Oh, very nice. Nice.
Man, I will honestly say it is so far. It is Central Time here in Chicago. Yes, Colin. I would honestly say it's probably my first game of the year nominee for this year.
Yeah, I've been hearing that. I bought it. I have not been able to play it. I think we have to team up. I think we have to find time to
let me know. Together. I got you because I want to play through it again. I love it that much.
Everything I've seen about that game just goes to show you what Joseph Fares and his team continue to deliver. And look, every time he releases a game, that game is referred to as a game of the year contender. And my God, based on what you've told me, based on what I've watched people play and some of the postings on the socials, some of the things you're doing in that game look so brilliant. It almost looks like if you took our inner child and you said, here's a box of Crayola, here's a blank page, make a game. Because you're riding dragons, you're sliding down things, you're wearing Mega Man looking armor. It just looks brilliant. It really does.
Yeah, all of that. And it's like a constant pace. The best way I can explain it is always constant. Something you're doing something almost always. It's a lot of switches of genres that you're going to do in it, from a Contra style gameplay to the really good platforming to Wave Runner to, I mean, it's so much. I don't want to give much away, but it's just really, really well done. Like I liked It Takes Two a lot. That one game of the year, as we know. I liked it a lot. I have not finished it yet though, but I did really like It Takes Two. If I had to rate it, probably like an 8.5 or 9 from what I played. This will be a 9.5. It's that much better to me.
Yeah, wow. It looks brilliant. It absolutely looks brilliant. And again, it's the one thing that Joseph and his team focus on is co-op, right? That's their shtick, and they've done it to a great degree in other games. And well, here we are again. And already, you're not the only one, Umbra, that has said that uttered the words "Game of the Year" for this game. And you know something? I have a strong suspicion based on its reception, not only to the the fans, the gamers. It was critically well received as well as commercially well received. So we will again, we'll just continue to watch that. I think that is going to be a game of the year contender in 2025 towards the end of the year. And I would imagine he's going to be upstate on stage with Jeff Keighley at some point. I'm always
cursing out somebody, right?
Yes. You know what? You gotta love that man for his earnestness, and he's very on the cuff. And you know what? Honestly, he's exactly what this industry needs.
Yeah.
We really need more Joseph Fairs letting you know, and that's the thing. Like, and again, I don't mean to take this into a direction for this game, but this has to be said. There was a lot of unnecessary kickback for this game because the protagonists are two females. Okay, big deal. What is the deal? He did what any creator should absolutely do when you challenge what they've done, and he eviscerated people to the point where I think people closed up the shop and closed down accounts because and I saw it with my own eyes. And you know what? I applaud him for it. For being that bit of a, sometimes you just got to be an asshole. Pardon my French, folks. Sometimes you just got to put these people in their place. But gentlemen, I want to open up the show with a tweet from a friend of the show. His goes by the name of King Abs, and it's at King Abs TV. Now, if you don't know who this gentleman is, he is Mr. Gears himself. He is a YouTube partner. He has over 50,000 subscribers on his YouTube channel, and he's a Gears of War content creator. Obviously, I've been going back and forth with him in DMs for years. Well, he put out a tweet yesterday that really got me excited. Now, folks, look, let me just lay this down for some context. So walk with me on this. You heard Jamie say that as Gears of War fans, we haven't had much to play in a while. Now, that's because, well, the Coalition has been cooking, right? Now, the last game that we got a chance was the DLC that was a bit of a prequel, and it was amazing. And Gears of War 5, one of my favorite in the series. Now, obviously, 1, 2, and 3 hold a special place in everyone's heart, but out of, the two after 1, 2, and 3, 4 was good. The kids were a bit annoying, but it was a good game. 5 was incredible for a whole bunch of reasons. But what I want to bring into and why I want you to walk with me on this is because I honestly believe, ladies and gentlemen, that we're going to receive Gears of War Overload this June. I mean, look, the Gears of War E-Day was released last year. You obviously, we covered it here on the channel. We were ass and seat. We saw it live happening. And I don't think I could actually replicate into words the explosion of excitement that happened with everyone that was there. I mean, everyone that was there jumped out of their seats. It was, folks, I'm getting goosebumps again. I'm sorry for being such a big nerd, but that is what happened then. This June, from what we're hearing from the different people I've talked to, is expected to be even bigger. Now, this is just some speculation. I really believe that not only are we going to get Gears of War E-Day something in the form of gameplay, I really believe that is going to happen. We're going to get the Gears trilogy or the Marcus Phoenix collection or the Gears of War collection, whatever you want to, slap a tag on it. That is also happening. That's why I said we're going to get Gears Overload. But now I want to rewind back to this tweet, Jamie. Now, it comes again from King Abs, who is a Gears of War content creator. And he simply brought to our attention that both the voice actors for Dom and Coltrane dropped pictures on their timeline for Gears of War E-Day. Now, you ask why. Well, we're going to get into the why in a second, because he goes on to say finally in this tweet, and so it begins. Can't wait to hear more soon. Now, there was a person in the chat that obviously responded, and this is, again, folks, it's a bit of speculation, but it's also a bit of I'm excited for this franchise and where it's going to go and how we are going to not only go back to the past, but potentially relive Gears 1, 2, and 3 redone from the ground up in Unreal Engine 5.3. Umbra, we're going to come to you on that in a second because I know you're excited just for the fact that it's Unreal Engine 5. Jamie,
you already know.
Absolutely. So we have here, his name is on Twitter is at MNC99. And he brings up a phenomenal point that would have went over my mohawk if he would have not said it. Now, he goes on to say this, Jamie. I wonder if the future game show that's happening this Thursday will have anything. Really weird timing for these guys to post this. And King Abs responds, I'm starting to think that too, but I wonder if that show is big enough to show anything major. Now, that's also a phenomenal point. Jamie, look, again, this is a bit of some speculation, some excitement. June is going to levy a lot of Gears of War just based on what we have been seeing on the socials and things that have been floating around, and some things that have not been discussed publicly that I am privy to. And what's interesting is, out of completely nowhere, two major characters, the voice actors for Dom as well as Coltrane, on their timeline at the same time decide to drop Gears of War E-Day pictures. Again, folks, it's speculation, but I'm here to talk about it nonetheless. Jamie, look, the timing is odd. We do have the Futures game show. We already know that the Expedition 33 is going to be there. We already know that South of Midnight is going to be there as well. Look, it may be a quote-unquote smaller show, but my God, if you wanted to bring the house down, if you wanted to really start cooking with excitement for Gears of War, more specifically Gears of War E-Day, maybe you drop a trailer there. Maybe you drop an update there. Is it likely? Probably not, but still, the timing is certainly odd. Let's get your thoughts not only on the fact that we have new posts from two mainline voice actors that are going to be in the game at one point or another, and more importantly, what are you expecting in June?
I mean, the chances of two, the chances of two Gears of War voice actors tweeting the exact same thing around about the exact same time when everyone's waiting for news on said game that they're tweeting about, yeah, something's up. Like the odds are just ridiculous. The way I see it, people have been waiting such a long time for Gears, and we've been told the coalition is cooking. The coalition, like, they are one of the best in the industry, and the way I see it is like, look, it's going to be a weird few years ahead for Xbox, not in a bad way, but like, they have a new console coming out in 2027. They have the collection coming out. And, this new game, E-Day, which everyone is really looking forward to. And I think, I do not think this is going to be a future game show thing in any capacity. Well, it would be cool, don't get me wrong. I'd rather see it this week than, June. The way I see it is that I think that they're going to get the voice actors and other people in media to do slight teasers and hints on Twitter and social media up until June. And like I told you last night, Boom, I 100% think that this June we're going to get in a vertical slice for gameplay and cutscene content, and as well as the trailer for the collection. I mean, that's how they've done Gears of War in the past. Gears of War 4 was announced, and then we got gameplay basically about the same time, and it blew people's minds. And then if you remember how people reacted to the alpha of the multiplayer, but like we got that the following year. So like I 100% think we will see some vertical slice this year, and it's been a long time. The last time we had new Gears of War content that wasn't Gears Tactics was Hive Busters, which was excellent
which
DLC.
is a phenomenal. Why is there a sequel to that? Is what I want to know. But please continue.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. I would love like a spin-off to Hive Busters. Like, those characters were great. The world, and having a tropical setting for Gears of War weirdly worked. So I would love to see those characters in some capacity again. But I think when it comes to Gears of War, E-Day is going to be very important because, like, when they announced that, they made it crystal clear, especially with the zoom out at the end towards from the city. Like, they want this game to be back to roots, because that first Gears of War game, it had horror elements. It was like very grimy, it was dark, it was gritty, and it was a very lived-in world. And you can tell the whole place had been at war, and they'd been overrun. So like it was very, like, I want to say down to earth, even though it doesn't make sense, but like, people want to go back to roots, back to the horror elements, back to the close-up, close quarters combat. You stranded in a hallway in the dark while monsters are coming at you, basically. And like, look, with Gears 5, I liked Gears 5. I really enjoyed it. However, the open world stuff, a lot of people didn't resonate with that stuff. And I think Gears of War being set in like the daytime, 90% of the game, and it having like less grimy elements outside of gore, we just want to go back to basics, and that's what people have been wanting for a long time. And they basically said that last year, like, that's what people want. And I think it's important to get back to roots because, Gears 4 was a huge step forward in what the games could look like, what they can play like. But like the story was getting a bit out there for some people. I enjoyed it.
Me too.
But like, ever since Gears of War 1 came out, people have been wanting E-Day. We wanted to see what happened with E-Day since the very beginning, and we're going to get that. We've seen slight teasers in the past with cutscenes in Gears of War 3 and 5 and all that stuff. Like, we've seen this, but we want to know like how it went down, and we're going to get that. And like I said, I don't think we're going to get anything a future game show. I would love to be wrong. Please let me be wrong. But I think we're just going to see slight teasers from different, actors and stuff until then. And plus, even if that is the case, I'm perfectly fine with it, because remember last year at their summer showcase blew everyone's mind holes, right? Like, nobody expected that show to be that good, to the point where people that hate Xbox on a daily basis were like, wow, that's possibly the best showcase ever. So, like, if they have Gears of War gameplay to show this year alongside other stuff, it's going to be a good time.
Look, the one thing that we can say, Umbra, with full authority about Xbox now, not Xbox in the past, but Xbox currently in their what we like to call their final form, right, is they have so many games in active development. They own so many IP. They have so many studios that there's only so much that they can do for them internally, meaning like a developer direct or a June showcase or or a first party reveal, whatever, right? They have several events per year. They got the big event in June. They usually, and I say usually, show up to Jeff's show at the end of the year with something in hand. Now, last year they didn't have anything. There were reasons for that, but this year I would expect that that's going to be a little bit different. And again, it's just an assumption. But when you start to see, Summer Game Fest or the future game shows, these events, they are watched by millions of people. And like I said, just alluding to what I said seconds ago, Xbox literally has so much in the oven. At some point, even something as pronounced and as huge as Gears could show up at this event. And again, am I saying that if that's going to happen? Folks, understand it's unlikely. But just bringing it back to what King Ab said, it is incredibly unusual that both voice actors that are expected to be in Gears of War E-Day, which of course, because it's a prequel, I would imagine we're definitely getting Dom. You saw him in the trailer, right? We know we're getting Marcus. He's in the trailer. But I think it's safe to assume, and again, we're assuming here, that Cole or Coltrane will be in the game at one point or another because he was there in the war. Now, again, it's speculation, but it is unusual to have both voice actors dropping, hints on their socials at the same time when a showcase is happening later this year. And again, we know that there are going to be Xbox games there, but we don't know if this is going to be there. So I want to get into that, but I also want to get into what you expect this June, because I think the cat is out of the bag, so to speak, when it comes to the Gears of War collection. We've had several people, including myself, actually speak to people that we trust that have told us that this thing not only exists, but is possibly being the one that's released this year. Remember, in the beginning of the year, we thought it was going to be E-Day first, and next year, for the 20th anniversary, the return to the Gears trilogy. But it looks like that's not, in fact, the case. We're going to get the trilogy first, according to insiders. And we know that Detective Seeds had on his side heard it that not only is it coming to PlayStation day and date, but it's already been backloaded onto PSN. Now, again, whether you like Detective Seeds or you don't, I trust the dude. And he does have sources. And guess what? I have sources too. And I was told the same thing in regards to it releasing this year. I think June is going to be huge for Gears of War. Anyone that's been waiting for a big announcement, I think that's where we get it. But you just never know. Let's get your thoughts on the future game show, the two voice actors tweeting, and more importantly, Umbra, what do you expect for June?
I expect a lot. I think Microsoft has kind of set the stage. I always nowadays I often look at it and say that Xbox is the new E3. That was one of the titles I had for one of my podcast episodes, which I did such a great job with that thumbnail. I didn't get enough love for that, but anyway, that aside, scatterbrainness aside, I look at Microsoft or Xbox rather as the new E3. So I expect now, after I think the level of reveals they've shown us these past 2 years, I look at it, and now that they've got things situated behind the scenes, I fully expect to see a lot of game reveals, right? Even if it's a matter of third party, I'm thinking that it's going to be something special. Now, this year is going to be a little different because, and I'll just drop a bit of truth, because we know that their whole multi-platform push, we're probably going to see some games announced going over.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a little bit different this year for that reason. But if I'm sticking strictly to what I expect for Xbox, well, it's a few things. Like you mentioned earlier, you said South of Midnight. Sure, you're going to see probably more gameplay of that. Well, not South of Midnight, because that's already going to be out by that point. Not South, but we'll probably see Clockwork Revolution. We'll likely have seen. I'm pretty certain that we'll see an actual gameplay reveal for E-Day there. possibly hinting at Doom DLC as far as expansion. I would hope that we finally see some gameplay for what's the name of that game? The heist game in the car.
Contraband. Yes, thank you, sir. Thank you.
Exactly.
Yes.
Maybe even the Wu-Tang game. Finally, right?
Finally, yes.
You know, so I expect things like that. That's the thing for me. I probably have to really sit down and think on it to really nail down my full thoughts. But as far as this now, you said the Futures Game Show. That is that's happening as far as the GDC situation, right?
Yes. Yeah. That Future Game Show is happening Thursday.
Yeah, fortunate for me, something I can talk about on Thursday show. I don't know specifically what to expect for that, so I'd have to really think on it. Shout out FarQ. I just saw your text there. He said Infinite Gas. It's a mission on Split Fiction where you play as a pig, and I was really gassy as the pig. I'll just say that. But anyway, I feel like the Future Game Show I couldn't really comment on. I have to look into that more and really think on it. But I'm expecting a lot of indie games to show up for that, obviously. But just getting back to, one thing I will say, which is obvious, is that we're going to get information for the handheld, obviously, likely for the third party.
It's happening
handheld
sometime this week. Again, this is just an assumption, folks. I don't have it on preferred authority. But I mean, the cat's out of the bag, right? Jez broke the story last week. We know that they're in bed with Asus. I was going to say Asus, but Asus. So we know. I mean, it's GDC. Of course, they're going to show off this thing, right? It makes perfect sense. We just don't know when. And of course, whenever that happens, get ready, folks. We're going to cover it here.
Yeah, for sure. So you had Jason Ronald, for instance, speaking that he'll be there. So we're going to get information. If I had to guess for two things. And I have to keep June in mind because that's probably where we'll get more major information. But we're definitely going to get likely some information about the handheld, possibly, I would say, during this. And if not, maybe it might touch on the whole Xbox Play, like anywhere titles and things like that, and how they're going to expand on that to really bring that claim to reality with us being able to play our third party games everywhere, right? That might be the case. I'm hoping. I think does GDC start this Friday, right?
No, it started Monday. It started yesterday.
Oh, it already started.
Goes through Friday.
Okay, goes through Friday. Okay. So there is that. As far as E-Day now, so what was your question on E-Day?
Well, the question is, what do you expect this June? Because obviously the E-Day, listen, we saw the trailer. We know what's happening. Okay, we have on pretty confirmed authority that E-Day isn't first. E-Day is happening in 2026. This year is expected to levy the Gears of War collection, as it's being called.
Makes sense.
And obviously, take it with a grain of salt. Take it with wherever your imagination wants to go. But King Abs brought up a great point. Why would the two voice actors that are probably going to be in this game tweeting about Gears of War E-Day at the same time on the same day? It's odd, folks. It's just odd. Now, is that kind of just trying to stoke the fires of excitement? Yeah, I guess if we were in, I don't know, May, maybe, but not in March, right? Yeah. And what's happening in March? Well, the Future Game Show is happening in a couple of days. Now, granted, I do agree that the show is relatively smaller, and would you expect something this big there? But isn't that the point, though? Like, wouldn't that literally stop the presses, so to speak, if E-Day showed up there in some form or fashion?
Yeah, that would be something. Maybe, just going by that thought, maybe it could be that they're saying, hey, we've revoiced or redid voices or whatever. It may have been remastered or whatever our voices for the past Gears game for the collection, and maybe that will show up at GDC. That could be that. I could see that possibly. How do I put this? I have to be careful how I say what I say. I've heard it through the grapevine of just the interwebs, that we might see something about the collection before June. So this could be that.
Yeah,
You know.
it could. Now, let me, because as you were speaking, thought popped into the head, right? So GDC, folks, if you didn't know, stands for the Games Developer Conference, meaning that there are going to be devs there. Maybe, and this is, again, I'm spitballing because the thought literally just raced into my mind, Umbra. Maybe we're not going to get a quote unquote gameplay trailer, but what if they're showing off the next version of Unreal Engine 5 using Gears E-Day as its, here you go. This is because they're currently up to 5.3 or version 5.3. What if this is an updated 5.4 version at the Game Developers Conference and they're showing off Gears of War E-Day, whether it be modeling, lighting, whatever? That kind of makes sense.
Yeah, I could possibly see that. I mean, it probably won't be for public consumption if that's the case. Like you said, as soon as the developers, maybe they'll show that behind the scenes. But I think that if it's E-Day itself, I'm just going to go out on the limb and say that the gameplay for it and what we'll see will definitely be in June. It's just too major of a tentpole, release for them not to be June. That said, super excited for it. Seeing them, like you said, Lester Spite. I forgot who the other. Maybe you know the name, Jamie. The guy, the other voice actor. Was it for Beard? The guy, the other one that also posted a tweet, because one was Lester Spite, which is Cole Train. But what was the other voice actor?
Dominic Santiago.
It was Dominic. Okay, for Dom. Yeah. I kind of had a feeling it was him, but I'm like, was this a Dom or? Okay, so there is possible that this could be for E-Day. Now, Baird and Cole, just to give a bit of the backstory of this, E-Day is, Emergence Day for those that don't know. Dominic and Marcus were already part of the COGs at that point.
Yes.
So they were already COGs, I think about 4 years. They were part of the COG army at that point. Now, that E-Day itself was when Baird and I believe Coltrane both joined as far as the ranks of the COGs. So there's a possibility that they'll cross, but I believe the initial story was that they didn't meet back then. So I want to see how they might change. They could change it. There's been plenty of stories that have been retconned and changed. So there is a possibility of that. And to get back to the dynamic of what we got in Gears 1 through 3, they're more than likely going to do that, right? So it makes some sense. Although they could have it where we play as a 3-player team of Marcus, Dom, and some unnamed COG, and then switch.
I mean, you're definitely playing as a Carmine at some point.
Oh yeah. We gotta have Carmine up in there. We gotta have a Carmine in there. I mean, we still actually have the missing Carmine that we never got the story for, by the way. Yes. So there's one missing Carmine. They never told us where he's at. He's missing in action. We still have obviously the grub killer himself, the gangster he is, of course, and that he survived it. But it was one brother, I think their oldest brother, who we never did quite see what happened to him. So it's possible that we might see him. Maybe they could do that. So that will be pretty funny. And they, of course, like John, the Black John said, that they know of Cole because of Thrash Ball. Of course, he's a football star, well, Thrash Ball star, I guess I should say, in their universe on Planet Sarah. So my thing is this. All of this could definitely be them doing a voice work for that. I would lean to say definitely that's going to be the case. It's going to be for E-Day. I don't think we're going to see anything until June ourselves. They might show something at GDC, to your point. I don't know if we'll get it versus the developers, and then unless we get some type of leak, which is possible, knowing Xbox.
But, or they could invite Jez Corden in to potentially cover it, and if he's going. Again, I don't know for sure, but I'm just saying that they could invite a one of the journalists that we all know, right? That one of the pick your favorite journalist out there. They invite VGC in. Hey, listen, this is what it looks like. Here's a small video. Put it out, right? Or They go to Tom Warren, they go to Tom Henderson, they go to Jez Corden. There's several of the big journalists that they could go to that would show it off. Again, this is just all speculation, but look, at the end of the day, Umbra, I think it's safe to say that, like alluding to what Jamie said, I don't want to say starving, but I think that most Xbox fans are Gears of War. It has been absent in the conversation for way too long. The day you saw the excitement, obviously there were so many people that were in there that did videos. I did one. Okay, Asante did one. One of the more famous or infamous ones is Hargeet Chani. He has almost 90,000 views on his version of the announcement, which is freaking awesome. And yeah, people are excited. I think that there is a lot to get excited about. Again, GDC is happening this week. We have a feeling that we're going to get something in regards to the partnership with Asus and Xbox later on this week. When, we don't know. There is the Future Game Show. Could that levy some Gears information? It's unlikely, but it could happen. And again, it's just for conversational piece, it is odd that two of the voice actors that are expected to reprise their role in E-Day at one point or another are tweeting about it on the same day. It's just odd. But, gentlemen,
just to highlight, by the way, though,
please,
reading up on it a little bit, we are expected to see, like they said, about like 50 upcoming AAA and AA games and indie games at this future games show. So we'll likely see a lot of things there, including like updates to things like Expedition 33, stuff like we'll probably see stuff like that there as well. So it might be maybe even like South of Midnight that possibly might show up there for the future game show. So there's going to be like a bunch of things that we definitely might want to be hip to pay attention to.
Well, look, it's going to be interesting nonetheless. I'm going to be tuning in. Whatever happens on Thursday, more than likely, we're going to be covering it on Friday mornings, Breakfast at Boom. If there's any, whether it's big news or small news, there's going to be news, and we're going to be covering it there. But, gentlemen, I want to segue into People Can Fly. They are a developer that we know have worked on Gears of War games before it. They made Gears of War Judgment. I know, folks, I get it. A lot of people, when you say those words together, some people, it invokes anger for some people. I understand if you're a multiplayer guy or gal, why that didn't work for you, because they didn't do the multiplayer like everyone knew Gears of War multiplayer to be. At least that's what's been explained to me by everyone that is a Gears fan. I don't play multiplayer. I play the single player. And quite frankly, I very much enjoyed the story and the controls and the game itself for Judgment. I know it's a lot. It's very low on the totem pole for Gears fans. I hear you. But the reason why we bring in People Can Fly, and I'm going to go in reverse order, and I'm going right to you. We have a story here that was posted by Hazador Gaming, as he does on a regular basis, another phenomenal member of the gaming news community on Twitter. He basically said this in a tweet, and has been confirmed. People Can Fly have entered into a production agreement with Sony Interactive Entertainment for development of a new game codenamed Project Delta using a current existing Sony IP. The studio is now working on two codename projects, one of which is PlayStation's Delta, which was just confirmed, and they are continuing work on an unannounced title called Maverick. That's the codename for it. Now, again, just for some additional context for conversational pieces, folks, I did dig up an old tweet from Clobriel, another incredible member of the Xbox gaming community, especially when it comes to gaming news. And this was confirmed on X/Twitter by Clobriel. You can, if you want to do your own sleuthing, folks, you don't believe what we're saying here, you can go and search, do a job search for People Can Fly, and this will come up almost every time. And this is what it says, gentlemen. It says Project Maverick is a yet unannounced AAA developed game with Microsoft. The game development involves our European and North American teams. There are currently over 40 open positions at People Can Fly for the Project Maverick team, including many lead positions. This likely means production on this project is still at an early stage. Career descriptions for the teams mentioned knowledge and passion for RPG games and Unreal Engine. Now, why this is an important story is what and when it was posted. Folks, this was posted, and this is how far I went back to get this information. October 22nd of 2023. So this is where the Project Maverick was announced. Obviously, they are 18 plus months into development of whatever this is going to be. It's very interesting that in parentheses, it asks for knowledge and passion for RPG games and, of course, Unreal Engine, which would be Unreal Engine 5. Now, the reason why we're talking about this specifically, well, this is a bit of a two-sided coin, gentlemen, and I kind of want to really dig our heels into this. Umbra, first of all, I saw a lot of people very upset that People Can Fly would work with PlayStation. Well, here's the thing, folks. If you remember a couple of weeks ago, they announced that they had to lay off some people that are a part of the studio. Why is that? Well, I honestly don't know because I don't work for management. But if they're laying off people, it means that either they're coming close to being done with whatever they're doing, and these developers, they could have been temps, they could have been subs, I don't know. But needless to say, they got to still keep the lights on. Now, does that mean that Xbox isn't paying them well? No. Does that mean that Xbox, the development of whatever they're working on has stopped? No. But they also have to look down the road to see where they can continue to pay the rent. And obviously, what they're working on is codenamed Project Delta. So I wanted to kind of throw it out there that because they're working not only with Xbox and now PlayStation, that's somehow a bad thing. It's actually not, folks, because they have to be paid. They have to butter their bread. And if they have to work with PlayStation to get that done, oh well. But this is where it gets a little funny, at least for me. Now, you guys and gals know that I've been saying for years that People Can Fly, not only are they a talented studio, Xbox, at least in my current and my personal opinion, should have already added them to XGS. That's just my take on it. I don't understand why certain teams, now granted, if they don't want to be acquired and that's a thing, fine. But this is where, again, folks, Speculation Town, folks. You know I'm the co-mayor of Speculation Town with Pong Soul and Mav from Front Speculation. We're all co-mayors. Because PlayStation is who they are, and they're petty, right? They're just a petty company. Could you imagine if they go out of their way to try and acquire this studio right from underneath Xbox's under their nose, which we know how important they are because they're currently not only working on Project Maverick, they're helping with E-Day. Right. So I'm just saying that it's, again, folks, don't get yourself all worked up because I'm not. I'm just saying that because PlayStation is so freaking petty, I can actually see them trying to acquire this studio right under the nose of Microsoft. And look, we've seen stuff like this happen. Sometimes Microsoft's, listen, let's call a spade a spade. Xbox has been known to have the ship piloting itself. And sometimes they just don't do the right thing. Look what happened. A perfect example of this, and we're taking it way back, folks. A perfect example of what I am talking about is literally what happened with Crackdown 3. They were able to shoot through a freaking wall, and they literally lost that technology by not locking it up. And then when it was bought by someone else, not paying for it, so that game didn't have to get delayed. And that game was eviscerated. It was gutted. So they do make stupid mistakes. I hope this is not one of them. Let's get your thoughts on them working with PlayStation. And more importantly, and again, it's speculation, folks, Microsoft potentially losing a Gears of War veteran studio to someone like PlayStation.
I mean, I get the concern because Sony is notorious for pulling like shady moves. So I definitely get that. What I would say, though, I don't think Sony has the capital right now to do that. Though, to be fair,
literally, that's what E-Ranks just said. He just said, he goes, Sony can't afford it.
Oh, see, yeah. See, I don't know. Now that said, they did recently open a new studio, so maybe they can afford it. Maybe maybe I should keep my mouth closed, but I don't know. My mind goes to the thought of they don't have the capital for that, but I don't know how much People Can Fly is worth either. To be fair, so. That there is that. As far as Project Maverick, I do struggle to think of what that could be. I'm not sure.
I mean, they mentioned RPG, so of course I personally immediately invoke, they're working on something Gears, right? But not with that, not with
the RPG part.
Ask, yes.
Yeah. Maybe what's the name of that? What's the name of that old school? No, I don't think they would do that.
I know what you're talking about. It was an old school RPG that came back on the Xbox One days.
Yeah.
It had like the 3 different classes. Oh my God. What's the name of that RPG? It's an old school. I mean, I'm talking like NES old school days.
Yeah, I cannot think of the name of it right now in my head, but I mean, well, RPG, what could it be? Maybe it'll just have RPG elements and they're being a little too forward with the language because everything nowadays is being called as some RPG. Oh, it's RPG. Horizon is RPG. Like, no, it's not. Anyway, I don't know. That one I have a little thought on when it comes to that. What I will say, though, is that and I have a few guesses for what they're doing here with Project Delta for Sony. Now, I don't worry like people. I know some people, like you said, are getting upset with them, like their business. They got to make some money, and you see how so many people are going out of business. Like, don't hold that against them. Just enjoy a good game. Hopefully, it's going to be a good game. Project Delta, by the name alone, it sounds very militaristic.
It does, right? Yes.
Yeah, you would think militaristic. Oh, brute force. Thank you. That was what I was thinking of.
Yes.
BT Maverick. Thank you. Brute force is what I don't know if you all remember that.
You know what? I loved it. Phil Spencer. Funny story. He hates that game. And when people, I loved it. I'm not going to front. I very much enjoyed it, but he does not like that game.
I did not. I thought that for when I got it because I think it was a Halo beta or something like that in it. That's why I bought it back then. It was something with Halo related. I forgot what it was.
They kind of forced you to buy it.
I was like, you got me. Yeah, I had to put my hands up like Walter White and in Breaking Bad. You got me. I bought it because of that, but I did not like it, man. I didn't end up liking it. But I feel like if you give it to a capable squad like People Can Fly, they could probably turn it into something, especially with their expertise working in squad-based shooters and such like Gears. So I would put some stock into that. If it was that, I can see it turning out really, really decent right now. What's up, BT? So, but for going back to Project Delta, again, militaristic, right? And Sony has a few titles that could fit when you really think about it. So this is my thinking. You look at the games they've worked on, be it Outriders, you think of Bulletstorm, obviously Gears of War Judgment, E-Day, like you pointed out. They've done a lot of work in general with the Coalition. Taking that expertise and using it on something militaristic, the first thought would likely pop up. It would be SOCOM.
There you go, brother. And I would champion the shit out of that because do we need a new SOCOM?
We do. And many PlayStation fans had been clamoring for that. I remember like talking with them and them complaining about that and saying, why won't Sony bring back SOCOM? Why won't they go to their wealth of IP and bring those out and bring those forward? And I'm absolutely in agreement with that. The next one would, militaristic that I think of would be like Killzone.
Yeah.
And so those two make a lot of sense, right? Or Resistance. That makes some sense. So there are those three, I would say, I see. Okay, Novik is on the same board. I see you. So yeah, like those make sense. So Killzone, SOCOM, Resistance, Fall of Man, right? those all fit within that area of
What
expertise
about
for
that
them.
spy game that was a Sony exclusive that was like Splinter Cell? Oh my god.
Siphon Filter. Yeah. Oh, see, Sly
Yes.
just said, yeah, Sly. See, look, they own it. Y'all own it today. Yeah, they own it today in the chat. Look at them. Yeah. I
Mag
forgot
is
about
another one.
Mag.
Jacob
I forgot
Novik
about
just said
that.
Mag. Yes,
Yeah, I
massive
forgot about
open
that
world, a massive action game, something or other. Yes,
I
yes,
don't
yes,
think
yes.
I don't think it'll be that though, but I think
That's a deep
SOCOM
cut.
looks good.
That's a
Yeah,
real
yeah,
deep
that's a
cut.
deep one. Yeah. Siphon Filter, it makes a lot of sense too, but I don't think that really fits within their wheelhouse. Not to say they couldn't do it, but that's a little more, like you said, Splinter Cell-ish. SOCOM is more squad based, so that kind of goes toward their stylings, though they would have to turn down I think, their style of game a little bit with that too. The one that fits the most, it's probably Killzone or Resistance. Probably fits more, though those weren't really squad based. So that's why I would go back to SOCOM. You see what I mean? And the name being Delta, it just kind of makes sense to me. So I people like middle-aged gamer guy.
I thought that. It's weird. I thought that as well too.
Right. But yeah, those make I think if I had to like narrow it down, it would be between again Killzone, SOCOM, or Resistance. That would be my thought. Resistance, however, is owned by isn't that
Insomniac Games.
Yes, right.
Insomniac Games, yeah.
So I don't think Insomniac would allow them to touch that. So that would eliminate Resistance. I'm pretty sure they probably want to work on Resistance again, but they're now a Marvel factory, right? So they can't really do it.
Pretty much.
So they probably wouldn't want them touching their Resistance IP. I will stick with SOCOM and
SOCOM seems so easy. Like why isn't I mean, look, if you want to move into gas game, production, that should have been like, you didn't need 8 others or 10 others to be canceled. You literally could be like, you know what? We're going to do this one. Oh, yeah, SOCOM automatic. Let's get some people.
Mm-hmm. It could, to be fair, too, it could be an existing IP that they do a spinoff of, too.
Yeah.
Just to throw it out there. It doesn't have to be the standard of whatever game. It could be a spinoff. So, but my thoughts would definitely be for SOCOM or for Killzone. The top 2, I would say, that make a lot of sense. SOCOM being the top 1, I would say, that makes the most sense. So I would definitely say people should give them a chance. Don't get upset just because they're working with Sony. It's a part-time thing or whatever.
They have to make money, man. They
gotta
pay
money.
The people, bro.
Yeah.
I listen. I know that there are lines. There's a green line, there's a blue line, there's a red line. I get all of that, folks. But at the end of the day, again, it's just, don't worry about what they're doing with Xbox, because that has been going on since 2023. Obviously, they're not done with it. We did have confirmation, not only from Hazardor Gaming, but from Clobriel as well, that both projects are being worked on right now. Like, that is happening literally as we speak. They're not abandoning Xbox. But at the same time, and again, Jamie, I want to bring this right to your doorstep. Sony is just so goddamn petty. If Microsoft did not watch their backs, I could see them swooping in to potentially buy the studio, and that would ultimately be a big problem, because they are known for not only as working on a project for Xbox as we're speaking, but they are currently working with the coalition on Gears of War E-Day, maybe even on the Gears of War collection. So, look, I want to get your thoughts on this. Now, I have to step away at just before 1 to take a super important phone call. If you're done a little after 1, it's fine. I'm going to hand the show over to Infinite Umbra, and I do want to shout out Antonio Newman, who basically says, boom, did you see the new Towerborn news? Towerborn has been announced to be releasing into Xbox Game Pass on the 29th. That is one of my most anticipated games this year, because it's a side-scrolling brawler that's kind of like Castle Crashers, but has an RPG element. Umbra, you could just run with that, and then we'll get into the last topic, which, of course, is the Starfield. I'm going to be gone 5 minutes, folks. I just have to make sure I'm available for this very, very important phone call. It's not game related. It's actually personal. And but
we'll likely
Jamie,
get the Assassin's Creed scores during this, right?
it's certainly possible, and I'm very much excited for that. That's why I haven't started anything new, because I am starting that bad boy day freaking one. But Jamie, let's get your thoughts on People Can Fly, their partnership with Sony, and more importantly, do you think that Sony would pull a fast one and try and acquire it? Because they're an incredibly talented studio. I know that they're hurting for money, and I don't know if they could actually afford to buy the studio, but you just never know. What are your thoughts, man?
I mean, the funny thing is, I just found out an interesting tweet, which I posted in June 2023, that People Can Fly working on an Xbox exclusive that has a budget of up to $50 million.
Whoa.
Now, I can't remember where I got that information from, but the post is from June last year. I can't remember who told me. And in the AAA space, people have told me like, oh, 50 million isn't much. Like, we've seen some really good games that cost that much. The Witcher 3, big, massive RPG, $70 million. Control, I think, also cost 50 million. I think it actually cost less. And Alan Wake 2 cost around 50 million. So, you can have these gorgeous big games for around that price. I think people are just too used to these bloated 100 million, 200 million, $5 billion games. I think it doesn't really matter whether Sony buys them or not. People Can Fly, they are a massively talented studio. However, if they've been making a game for Microsoft and they're working on Gears of War 8, they'll be contractually obligated to finish those projects, no matter what.
Of course, yes.
So if people are looking forward to a new People Can Fly game and you're on Xbox, you've got nothing to worry about. It's all good. Now, would it make sense for Sony to buy them? I mean, considering the amount of money they lost over the past few years, the whole Concord situation, shutting down studios constantly, and Concord alone was like $200 million or more. The biggest flop of all time, more so than E.T., and E.T. has its own landfill. Think about it.
You're not wrong, sir. You're not wrong.
So, I think it would actually make sense for Sony on one hand, because Sony doesn't actually have this multiplayer centric game that has microtransactions and a battle pass on a regular basis, right? People keep talking about how Microsoft, they concentrate on microtransactions and battle passes. Like, the truth is, most of Microsoft games are actually single player and they don't have microtransactions, but they have the money coming in through Call of Duty and Forza and Halo and all that stuff. So they could have all these single player games. Whereas Sony, they've been putting out single-player games for years, but they don't have a multiplayer component that makes money on a regular basis. Now, when it comes to Sony, SOCOM is the obvious one, in my opinion. I think a lot of people like, a new SOCOM. It's been so long since there's been a SOCOM. And if I remember correctly, didn't the last SOCOM release the day before the PSN went out?
Yeah, it's been years, dude.
I was gonna say, let me look into that. Let me see when the last one was. Hold on one second.
Guys, I'm just gonna step away for a hot second.
Yeah, so it's been a hot minute, since there was a SOCOM game. So that makes sense. Killzone's obviously on the back burner because of Horizon and all that stuff. So People Can Fly really make a lot of sense for them, but I can't really see them buying that studio because these studios, they cost a lot of money. The industry is in a weird place at the minute because we always hearing about these studios getting shut down. Ubisoft is considering selling IP to EA and Microsoft. The industry's in a weird place, a very weird place. So buying a studio,
just to throw it to you, Jamie, it was 2011 to be certain.
Okay, so it was around the PSN outage.
No, it was the last. It says the second title for the PlayStation 3 and the last title in the franchise. SOCOM 4 is set in Malaysia and serves as a sequel to SOCOM 3. That was in 2011. Yep. So PlayStation 3 title exists.
Yeah. So it's been a while since there's been one. I think a lot of people. Yeah, I think a lot of people would love one, and Killzone fans, they've been waiting for a long time since the last one. So it's a weird thing, And when it comes to Microsoft with People Can Fly, I as Microsoft's proven to us, they can literally surprise us with anything. You know, a mystery studio could be working on some unknown game that we don't know anything about, and they'll surprise us. You know, now I've seen the term RPG thrown around. It really could be. Microsoft clearly has this thing for RPGs at the minute because, you know, they have Call of Duty in Game Pass, they have Halo in Game Pass. Like the truth is, a lot of people that subscribe to Game Pass is for single player content. And if you get a big RPG in there on a regular basis, that keeps people subscribed. You know, they dropped the Avowed in Game Pass. There's also going to be the Oblivion remake in the next few months, and then they're coming out with Fable next year and the Outer Worlds 2 this year. So like them getting People Can Fly to make an RPG that could possibly be a shooter because they excel at shooting mechanics. So like I totally see that happening. But when it comes to either Microsoft or Sony buying them, I doubt it. And they're a big enough studio that they can actually make a game for Microsoft and Sony at the same time. So in the end, everyone kind of wins, you know. But in the weird landscape we're in at the minute, I honestly can't see anyone picking that studio up. They are a very big studio, hundreds of people. I just can't see it happening. I just can't. But we will see some really cool games from them. And even though I have had my gripes from them in the past with their game design, they know how to make a fun game. And that's all people want in the end. So, yeah, that's it for that. Now, Umber, we're going to talk about Assassin's Creed quickly.
Yeah, I think the scores for that should be popping up soon. It looks to be an 83 meta overall.
Oh, that's good.
For Assassin's Creed and 77 on PC. Although scores might still be coming in to correct that, I'm not sure. One thing that did drop, Jamie, just now is that from Clobro he posted. It was announced on Xbox.com is that Towerborn is coming to Xbox Series X and S on April 29th.
Ooh, that's good.
Yeah.
People have been waiting a long time for that because I think that was announced, I want to say 3 years ago.
Yeah, it's been a second, right?
Yeah. I mean, when it was first announced, we had a short trailer, but ever since at every showcase, I feel like Microsoft's thrown in like this, 30-second of footage, just like during a sizzle reel saying, hey, this game is coming. There's no date yet, but it's coming. And, you know, I'm excited. I want to play it, but I just want them to bloody release the thing. You know, it's
for real.
Years.
And it says, so Clobro posted a second tweet. He says it has cross-platform play and progression.
Oh, nice.
Couch co-op on Xbox consoles. So I don't guess is it online? Because it says couch co-op. I guess it's both.
I think it is both because I think that during the beta you could obviously you couldn't couch co-op, so you did play with others.
Okay. Yeah. Class skills and all new progressions.
Yeah, dude, it looks so. Again, folks, if you are a fan, I'm an old G, right? I everyone knows that. I like Final Fight. I like Aliens versus Predator, which, by the way, I play yearly. And why Capcom has not released that officially, I have no idea. Please, for the love of Joe, I don't like playing on a Raspberry Pi. Can you just release the game? But this is, again, I don't think we have enough of these in gaming, right? And this is an opportunity. Again, we've been seeing this for years, and the game's hand-drawn art looks absolutely freaking phenomenal, and you can play with friends. Do you remember when Castle Crashers first launched into Xbox Live Arcade?
Oh, yes.
How amazing that thing was.
Yep.
I think this is going to have a tremendous amount of appeal. And see, guys, and I don't mean to hijack you. I took my phone call, so I'm back.
Oh, yeah, good.
What I love about these kind of releases, 33 Immortals, Towerborn, they don't have to be these AAA monster-sized 200 to 500 team people making it to be good, to be special, to be something a part of like Xbox Game Pass that does give you the big AAA games like a South of Midnight, which is considered AA. That's what they're saying. When you play it, folks, you're going to know that it has AAA feel to it. But you also have Avowed as another one, and they consider it to be a AA game. That game has massive AAA appeal. And then, of course, later this year, you got Doom. That's major AAA. I love the fact that these games, 33 Immortals and Towerborn more specifically, they exist. And they look freaking really good. But listen, Gentlemen, thank you for standing in. Again, small, bonus topic where I took a very important phone call. Before we get over to the last topic of the show, and that, of course, we're talking Starfield for a multitude of reasons. We got to thank once again the sole super chat for today. Thank you so much, Will. As always, do you K now the broke boy insider? He drops a very generous $5 super chat. He goes on to say, I've gotten a few hours into Towerborn on Steam. Interesting. He says, it's a fun little game, but other ones took over my playtime. What up, all? In a little late today. Yeah, I mean, listen, brother, you can rewind it. We had a great conversation to get to where we are now. But listen, Mike Nunn, thank you so much for the commentary. He says, great show. Appreciate the generosity and the kind words as always. But gentlemen, I want to get into this topic. Now, this topic is going to have some PlayStation 5 flavor on the back end of it. Now, granted, folks, look, Starfield is, in my personal opinion, and you can push back if you disagree, that's fine, one of Bethesda's best releases ever. It released, and just going back in history, a lot of their games released because they had to. And when a game has to release, right, that comes with some baggage. Usually, Jamie, that's bugs. And that's why they've been known for years as Bugthesda. Now, people say that, with an endearing kind of, like your noogie, your younger brother kind of a thing. But their games do have bugs. Let's be clear here. Starfield, yes, it did have some bugs, especially when it came to saving, which is why I saved. I had hundreds of saves. It was ridiculous how many saves I had, in fear of getting a bug that erases one of your major accomplishments. And if I had a save from 15 minutes ago, no big deal. I have a save from 5 hours ago, I got a problem, right? Well, Starfield came out, Jamie. We know how you feel about Mass Effect, so I would imagine that that invokes how you feel about Starfield, which is awesome, right? But it came out and it did a lot of big things, and it did a lot of big things right. The game was gorgeous, ran great. It told the story that you crafted. Yes, there is an overarching Starborn, time traveling, how many versions of yourself are out there in the ether. That story exists. But the in-between and how you personally handled these side quests and these encounters literally changed the game for every player. That is incredibly unique. The game continues to be supported. We had a DLC come out last year that a lot of people did not like. I absolutely loved every second of it. And we have a new DLC potentially coming this year on its 2-year anniversary called Starborn. Now, again, a couple of weeks ago, we heard that there is going to be massive news coming for Starfield. Now, this is great for current players. This is great for players that have put it down and walked away and will return when new content is added, when a new expansion is added, Jamie. But on the back end, now, of course, I got to bring up one of the community's absolute finest. You should know him. He was definitely integral in potentially not only giving really good behind-the-scenes law information, but explaining it where people like us, because I understand the law, but not the business side of it. And it was very digestible. I'm talking about @postup _SOG. Good friend of the channel, great friend of the community. Well, he posted something that was very, very interesting. And this is what it says, folks. Starfield is set to make its debut on PS5 and PS5 Pro enhancements. This is a screenshot from the Starfield app update, and it's been updated with the PlayStation logo. And folks, I'm looking at it. I could bring it up if you guys and gals want to see it. You know what? Let me just, for context and shits and giggles, let me just do a quick screen share for you so you can see exactly what I am talking about. Here it is. This is again post up. Good friend of the community, great friend of the channel as well. Let me just get us out of here. Let me hide us here, and let me just bring this in. Let me just get rid of that, folks. Now I'm going to blow it up on the screen from Twitter, so bear with me, so you can see. This is from the Starfield app. Now I don't know whether this is whether it's Apple or whether it's Android, but nonetheless, as you can see, it clearly states available for PC, PlayStation, and Xbox. And basically, cat's out of the bag, ladies and gentlemen. This is actually happening. And look, we've been talking about this for weeks now. This should not be a surprise to anyone. It shouldn't, because guess what, folks? Microsoft and Xbox are going third party. This game, Jamie, will be 2 years old this September. Okay, it's coming to PlayStation. I have a strong suspicion, very similar to what you saw with Forza Horizon 5. This game, this Bethesda exclusive that will now be available not only for PlayStation 5, but have also PlayStation 5 Pro enhancements. And I'm assuming it's going to run parallel to what the Xbox Series X version is doing, is going to make a splash on PSN. And I really think it's going to be number one across the world on all PlayStation stores. And here in the States, I have a strong suspicion that there will be several versions. All of those versions will be in the top 10 of most paid for games. It is an exclusive that has been sitting and doing very well on Xbox. I have a feeling it's going to do just as well on PS5. Let's get your thoughts on the expected big news this year from Bethesda regarding Starfield and its potential DLC. But more importantly, what are your thoughts on, well, the basic confirmation that it's coming to PS5?
I'll get the multi-platform stuff out the way first, because I think people want to hear more about the expansion. But the multi-platform stuff, look, it's been out this year. It'll be 2 years, and like, if people wanted to play it, they'll have played it, right? So like, it's not a big deal in my opinion. I use this term a lot on Twitter, and I use the term forced hate. Starfield has had this constant wave of forced hate since before it was announced. And by the way, next time I post that term on Twitter, look at the replies. Salty replies. Because like, every time I post about Starfield, I could be posting the most mundane thing. Hey, look, check out this cool moon with a nice skyline. Hey, look at this spaceship battle, right? People are livid. People are angry for no reason. And the straw that broke the camel's back for Bethesda RPGs just happened to be the one game that was exclusive to a Microsoft console. No, the truth is, people were jealous. People were jealous that a new Bethesda game was exclusive to an Xbox. That's the truth, right? People refer to, Bethesda games as Bugthesda, like you said. I had one bug in my entirety of 100+ hours playing Starfield. And do you know what that was? A door wouldn't open, and all I had to do was reload the last autosave, which was about 30 seconds prior to the issue, and it was solved. Right?
Nice. So you know what I had? I had one weird one where one of the rocks out in space like got attached to the back of my ship, basically. Yeah, and it just kept following me around for a long time until eventually it just disappeared. I'm like, okay. It took like hours, but it went away on its own. Yeah,
I mean, I had a similar bug in Fallout 4 last year where a corpse wouldn't detach from my body.
You like, I can't quit you.
So like, I had to, and the thing is, I couldn't fast travel with this corpse attached to us, so I had to literally walk across the entire map to get in my suit. But I mean, Fallout 4 had its issues, but my God, I love that game. But with Starfield, like, I had like that one bug, and the wave of hate started before the game even came out. People were hating on that. Like, I would post clips of, like, Microsoft posted that 15-minute clip of Starfield, what you could do, how many solar systems are in the game, how many planets are in the game, and I'd post little clips of these, and people would be livid, losing their marbles, right? You'd think that you'd punch their grandmother in the face and stole the money, right? Just because I was posting about Starfield, right? So, like, people are just obsessively angry about Starfield. It really annoys me. So like that's why I use the term forced hate, because look, if Starfield was this buggy, like look at Cyberpunk, right? Cyberpunk in 2025 is known as this amazing next level RPG. But
Yeah.
do you know what happened when it came out? It was broken beyond belief.
Yeah.
And people made fun of like hell. When the game was fixed in 2022, it was fixed a week before Elden Ring came out, and I was posting about it because I waited for the patches and the next gen upgrade. So when I was posting about it, I was like, "Hey, they fixed the game. It's amazing." I was accused of being paid off by CD Projekt Red because I was enjoying Cyberpunk, right?
Wow.
So like people have this like weird narcissistic tone when it comes to people just enjoying a game. And if it's something that isn't on their device, the extra salty. And it's really annoying because like Starfield is a great game. Is it perfect? No, but no game's perfect. I ramble on about Mass Effect every single day. I know it might annoy people, but I mean it's too late. And like Mass Effect ain't perfect. The first Mass Effect game is my favorite game of all time, and I could list 100 things I don't like about that game. Right. So when it comes to Starfield, like it's a damn good game. It will be interesting to see if all the people that made fun of that game every single week on Twitter, every single day on Twitter, will they post about that game all of a sudden? Will they say, hey, it's PS5 Pro Enhanced? They will, because they're hypocrites.
Yeah.
No spying. So like that's that. And you know, I'm sure it'll do well. It's a Bethesda game. And you know what? If it can, maybe it'll go to the Switch 2. And I think that's even bigger news and even more important because the Switch 2 is pretty much going to outsell the Xbox and PlayStation combined in like 3 years, in my opinion. Right? You know, they apparently have like 30 or 20 million consoles ready to go. So like I think they're good. Now when it comes to the expansion, we were told that Starfield was going to have longevity. And if you look at previous Bethesda games, we've basically had, you know, expansions for 1 to 2 years. But the way they talked about Starfield is that they want this to be continuing for years, right? So, like, you're going to have the main team working on Elder Scrolls 6, which is 2026, 2027, or whatever. But we're going to have Starfield content basically every year. There's people playing Starfield all the time. And Starfield, the best thing about Starfield is that it's a game that can evolve far beyond Skyrim COD, far beyond what Elder Scrolls.
Because it's space, right?
Yeah,
no matter where you go, Jamie, whether it be because Earth's already gone, right? We already know if you've been there, if you know, like the kids like to say. There's a whole story as to what happened and why it happened, but because it's space, it's pretty much endless on what you can do.
Yeah, I mean, look at the last DLC, right? That DLC, Shattered Space, is basically set on one planet, and it's 100% handcrafted content.
Yep, correct.
And even though some people had its issues with it, the fact that it was handcrafted, you could tell, like the city, the planet, it was so much fun to go around. And I think that, you know, Bethesda know that now. They know all this stuff. They've paid attention to feedback to Starfield, unlike any other Bethesda game, right? People wanted 60 FPS. We got the patch. People wanted a vehicle for, you know, a moon buggy. People thought we couldn't get that because of the way the creation engine works. And then we got the moon buggy. So, like, they are clearly paying attention to feedback. And, you know, this is Bethesda's biggest game ever, right? People can hate on it all they want. They can force hate on it. But, like, the endless potential for Starfield is literally ridiculous because they can do anything. They could add new planets. They could add whole new cities, right? We don't know everything that happened on Earth. Maybe there's flashback missions. They can literally do anything. The sky is literally the limit, right? So, like, Starfield, I think, you know, it launched, in my opinion, in a great state with a lot of amazing content. But it being a more realistic-centric RPG, I think it's going to grab more people's attention, whether it's on Xbox, PlayStation, Switch 2, PC, or whatever. Like, Starfield is going to be a platform where they can grow it for years to come, to the point where, hell, if people are still playing this game regularly on the next Xbox, potentially halfway through next generation, we're still getting new content made by Bethesda. And I think that's going to be the best thing for the game, because when it comes to Starfield, when people play it, they love it. Right? When people were talking about Skyrim, yeah, people loved it. People loved that you could get all these crazy mods and have, you know, Macho Man Randy Savage as the dragon, right? Which was funny for a meme. But like with Starfield, it's all about gameplay and the experience in the lived-in world.
Cream of the crop.
Yeah. so I think the game is completely. It's going to be fine, and I can't wait to see what they do with the expansion because I love the gameplay in that game. And like you're saying, like as I'm a fan of Mass Effect, I played Starfield in its entirety in third-person mode, and I've tried playing previous Elder Scrolls games in the past, in like Fallout 3 in third person. Let me tell you, their third person camera up to Fallout 4, because I think Fallout 4 was actually pretty good. Like absolute janky third person movement. But in Starfield, and they learned from Fallout 4, which was better, it played amazing. And as a Mass Effect fan, I got that feeling of, hey, I'm on an adventure. So like Starfield's in a good place. And look, I've seen people in chat, they're sick of hearing about the multi-platform stuff. The way I see it is that we all know this is a thing now. So like them putting the little badge on the place on the the Starfield thing, like it's gonna happen. And hey, if people that mocked the game for 2 years straight, even before the game release, if they want to pump money into Microsoft so I get more Xbox games, so be it. Let them be hypocrites and fund Microsoft.
Look, folks, it's only a part of the story, right? We're here specifically talking about what we expect this year. Big things are coming and happening for Starfield. Now, a part of that conversation, and I get it, folks. You get mad at me for mentioning it. It's a reality, folks. We're not harping on the fact that it's releasing on PlayStation 5, but it is a part of the story, Infinite Umbra. And maybe it's not important to you because you've been playing it for almost 2 years. You'll have the game in your possession 2 years come this September. You've beaten the game. I'm currently nearly 8 days. And like I said, I'm almost embarrassed to say that when you see someone be like, you're 8 days. I mean, what were you? What are you, 10? I got 78 days in this game. And I'm like, yeah, you know what? Take it easy there, fella. Yeah, take it easy. It's okay. I'm embarrassed, but I'm closing in on 8 days, and I loved every second of it. Look.
That's funny, but that's a ton of time you put into it. 8 days.
Yeah, 8 days is a lot, and I'm closing in on, I believe, 6 days in Avowed. And mind you, I've beaten the game. Like I keep reloading older saves and doing newer things and to try and get the achievements, but
yeah,
I got to get the new game plus. That we're gonna get some information. We talked about that yesterday. That's happening. Carrie Patel literally said that they originally didn't think that they were going to do anything. Well, they didn't have any planned DLC. I think the popularity of this game not only surprised Obsidian, I think it surprised Xbox as well. And hopefully we don't have to wait too long to get new weapons, new areas, maybe even an expansion of some sorts. But I want to bring this back around to Starfield because this is a game, going back to what Jamie says, it's got some legs. Right? Because it's space, because it's the universe or several universes, there is no wrong way to go. Now, the next DLC, Umbra, is rumored to be called Starborn. What exactly is Starborn DLC or expansion? Well, I'm assuming that we're going to find out this June, right? But we also have on the back end of it's time to get back into Starfield because more content is coming. More support for this game is coming. I think this is going to be around a decade from now. Very similar to Skyrim. Skyrim is still being played by new players today. That game is old as dirt, but continues to get updates, continues to find new players. Starfield is going to be one of those Bethesda joints. As a matter of fact, and this wasn't a part of the conversation, I really think at some point they're going to make an MMO out of this. Very similar to what they did with Fallout 76, what they did with Skyrim, with that MMO. This is going to get an MMO at some point. But for now, it is single player. And again, thanks to PostUp, who did, drop that incredible information, it is releasing, or it has been slated for PlayStation 5. Now, granted, it does not say a year, but it does say, and again, you go right back to the graphic, it says available for. So I would imagine that a PlayStation 5 announcement is coming soon. When, I don't know. Let's get your thoughts on both sides of this coin. One, the expansion. Second, PlayStation 5 finally getting what I believe to be one of the best RPGs from Bethesda in the history of the company.
Yeah, and it's so much. I want to say, I guess I'll say this to start off. We were talking about the hours put in, and I have, looking at my 16 days, 21 hours.
Jesus Christmas, bro.
Which turns out to be 405 hours. We have Starfield guy in the chat here. He has 126 days. Yeah.
Well, that's why he's called Starfield guy. I mean, there you go.
Yeah. You got the right name for sure. Stay with that name. Don't change it. I probably couldn't tell him anything. Well, did you see this mission? Yes, I did. I didn't finish my sentence. I know what you're going to say. But yeah, so I mean, hey, kudos to you. I loved Starfield. I really did. Ultimately, I don't know where I would place it in the hierarchy of their games. I still have my Mount Rushmore of Oblivion still there. It hasn't been replaced. But this is my thing. I absolutely agree with both of you, what you said, and Jamie, I agree with you too. I hate that it's become such a standard that our Hoove brothers will downplay a game just because it's on Xbox. But as soon as it gets over there, now all of a sudden is worthy, and we're probably going to see that reflected in some review scores too. You know what I mean?
I expect IGN. I'm saying it right now, and again, no names here. You can go find out who reviewed it. I can guarantee you, ladies and gentlemen, that Starfield is not only going to get reviewed multiple times on US soil with IGN, it is going to score no less than a 9.0. And the reasoning behind this 9.0 versus the 7 that a certain games journalist gave it twice is that, it's been refined. All of the problems have been fixed. It is the better version. Trust me when I tell you that we're going to see the fraudery come out from a lot of these game journos. And you know what? I don't keep receipts because I'm too old for this shit. But I guarantee you that there's going to be receipts pulled on one version of Starfield as it was on an Xbox-only machine versus, it's on PlayStation 5 Pro and PS5. You're going to see, Umbra. You will see.
I can almost believe it just knowing the history of how things have been. What if it was reviewed and it came like, let's say in 7.5 or an 8, let's say an 8, and it was done by Dan Stapleton too. Do you know that he would have to hide his family? I think people will look for him.
I think that again, I'm not going to talk about the man because my personal feelings of him, I don't have nothing nice to say. So my pops used to say before he would whoop my ass cowboy style is, son, if you ain't got nothing nice to say, don't say it at all. So I'm a refrain from saying what I really want to say. But I don't even think he's going to do the review because again, folks, please don't threaten people over gaming because I've seen it done. This is where the popo comes out. Don't do it. You can get in trouble. It is a Class A misdemeanor for threats over the internet. I'm not going to go into Law 101, but yes, you can get in big trouble for it. But I guarantee you he's not going to review it himself because he knows that the smoke will be coming.
I almost want him to do it. I almost want him to do it. I'm dead serious. I want to see him the dual sense factored in. Or I can almost hear that. Plus it has the Shattered Space DLC combined with it. But anyway, all of that said, I guess I'll tackle the PlayStation thing. At this point, again, we should all be past the whole at this point, we all know what it is. We have to move past that. I know some people are okay, here it is. Yeah, but listen, this is going to happen. We have to. It does us no favors to ignore reality. I don't like to ignore reality. It's okay for us to talk about it. You know what I mean? We don't have to dwell on it to talk about it. This is going to happen. The game is going to go over there. Being a fan of Starfield and being a fan of Bethesda, my hope is that our Hoove brothers will get the game, play it, and enjoy it, and shut the hell up.
Yeah,
that's my hope.
That's a great
hope.
You
know what I mean? And let go of the hate and the tribalism. That's the biggest thing I would take away from this. And I'll say this: I saw one of a Hoove brother I know who has wreaked havoc and tribalism on Twitter for as many years as I've known him now, that I've been on there for a long time. And he came through with shining reviews of Avowed. He scored it higher than I did, in fact.
Wow.
And this is a person who was pessimistic toward, Xbox and stuff like that, and antagonistic toward, the fan base. And it was like, no, you guys, this game is great, blah, blah, blah. So I think when people get access to it, that the hate goes away. I've come to see this. It's all tribalism. And what you can't get, some people tend to hate. And that's all it is. So my hope is that when it goes over there, they enjoy the game and really, just let go of that. This is the thing I'll say too. This is another. I just commented this on a tweet from what's my man's name? He not Rubenstein. He is a Xbox guy too. At least he handles like a lot of business behind the scenes for them. Not behind the scenes. What's his name?
Oh, Stein?
Not Stein, although that was a close guess too. I forgot his name right now, but he spoke to Xbox Play Anywhere, and his tweet was talking about how Assassin's Creed Shadows is a Play Anywhere title, which is just dope.
Yes.
So if you buy it on Xbox, you get the chance to play it on, PC or whatever the case, whatever, which is just a major. Josh Muncy, that's his name. Josh Muncy, who was the director of Xbox Integrated Marketing. Josh Muncy, Munsee, literally Muncy. So he spoke about it and he says this is a Play Anywhere title. One of the things I love from Xbox, aside from the ecosystem and all of that, is this.
Yes.
It's one of the greatest things they have.
It's consumerism at its absolute finest. As a matter of fact, Towerborn has just been confirmed as Play Anywhere.
Mm-hmm. Any first party should definitely always be that. But this right here for third party to also do it,
it's massive.
Major bonus.
Yeah.
And
game changer.
It is, and it goes toward the future that you're trying to craft with having us be able to play our titles everywhere, right? As well as they do first party. So I say all that to say, I was lucky enough to have played Starfield through Xbox, PC, and although it's handheld, it's a PC too, the ROG Ally. So I got a chance to play it on all these different things. And being able to mod, because they allow mods on Xbox too, but you can really go all out, on PC with much more. And so I've experienced a lot as far as like adding new characters or changing the way faces look. You can do so much. I didn't do that part, but you can do so much that it's actually pretty insane. And it's one of the beautiful things about Bethesda titles is the fan-made stuff that they put into these games. I saw one mod where that character, the little alien character in that Star Wars game that just released from Ubisoft.
Oh, the little robot from
It's a little alien thing. I forgot the name of it.
Nyx.
They have that in Starfield. You can have them as a companion and running around with you as you go out on missions. Like it's stuff like that. They have wholly created missions and mission structure that they've added, the fans have added to Starfield. Like this is dope. I look at Big Mad Mo. He's like that PC junk. Stop hating, Mo. Your name fits you, Big Mad Mo. Stop hating on it. But no, seriously, like it's great that you have so much room to do all of this, be it Xbox, be it PC.
Yeah.
Right. So that's a beautiful thing. And xCloud is getting better. I agree with you, Young Dread. And so I have nothing but praise when it comes to Starfield in general. I mean, there are some things I would want added and changed. So if this is in fact a new expansion, I'm all the more happy for it. I enjoyed Shattered Space. If it's Starborn, if it's actually that, then we can imagine it must be an extension of what we are, right? What we find out. I hope everybody's played enough that I don't have to censor myself, but I would imagine it's going to be maybe some battling doing with other Starborn or something like that. Going into.
Maybe you're fighting yourself, dude. Like literally a future self of you that chose a different path and now you're going head to head with yourself,
What
which would be freaking awesome.
What if it's like the first version of us before we go all the way through Unity is fighting us? I actually missed my first universe. Actually, I felt salty a little bit. That's one of the cooler things I think about Starfield is that I felt like it's weird because if you stay in that same, you got the option, of course, stay in the universe, go forward, right? And once I did, after a minute, I was like, I miss my woman. I missed all my ships. All my ships were gone. Yeah. All my money is gone. Where's my stuff? So that's one thing. You lose everything, right? It's like it's like the Thanos clip. It says, "What did it cost you? Everything." Right? I lost everything. Yeah. And then so I'm going forward and stuff like that. And the more I went forward, the more I noticed how cold I was toward the characters. Like I didn't care what they were talking about. It did not matter to me in that world what was going on with these characters. Same people, different universes of those characters. And then it hit me. I'm like the other Starborn guy now.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was like, wow, is this why he's like that?
Yeah, because he's seen so many versions. He's like, yeah, whatever.
Yeah, it don't matter to him.
That's going to surprise him.
Yeah. And I'm like, that's so actually damn cool, actually. I did feel regret after a minute so a game can make you feel things like that, whatever type of emotion. It's not such a strong emotion as regret. I think the game did something right. What I would hope that they do is, again, my complaint for Bethesda is the lack of furthering their styling to more modern style. What I mean by that is adding actual dramatic CGI and things like that, because it's just basically, oh, this thing happened. I'll explain it to you as I stare at you and talk to you. That's the only thing I hate. Think of Mass Effect, like Jimmy mentioned, and one of the things we can go by is the epic CGI they had when they had these showdowns against the Reapers and all. You see all this, so I would want them to expand. Change their game style up a little bit so we can see that, have these epic space battles that we want to have, put that into this for the sequel. I want them to go all out. I want them to be a bit of a game direction change when it comes to that.
Make it a little bit more movie-esque.
Yeah, just a bit.
And a little bit of flair to the way the story, because listen, the story is told in an understandable way, right? There's no mistaking they explain the story. But there are ways, and now, again, invoking Jamie Moran, Mr. Mass Effect himself, if you just go back, and those games are old, folks, Xbox 360 old. Yes, the updated versions, they look great. They did a great job. But just going back to the storytelling elements, the bigger set pieces were told in CG. I think that's what you're going for. Exactly. I agree 1,000%, especially if you want to invoke emotion to to what's happening, because what you're doing as the player, as the protagonist, you are experiencing what this flashback looks like, and it's how they tell that flashback that really grabs you. That great point all around, man.
That's the only thing I would want for them. So I hope for this expansion they kind of really dive more into a little bit of the cinematic styling of that. And we had one mission that was kind of like that. I keep going back to this, which was the mission with that nasty space monster that fought the other one and killed it, basically.
Dude, that was almost like survival horror.
That was a great mission though, right?
It sure was. And
like even clever of how you had to, get around the top of the rooftops and hit those latches or whatever to all of that type of stuff is what I like. I like stuff like that. And I hope they kind of, dive more into that. The survival horror aspect of that mission, I would like a lot more of when it comes to.
You know what's interesting? Yeah. The DLC had the opening to the DLC when you first find the space station is very reminiscent of like Alien.
Tone wise, for sure. Yeah.
Yes.
I agree. But that said, again, just going back, excited to hear more. Hopefully, that they do have this expansion coming. We haven't heard any guarantees of it, but I hope that is the case, and hope they just continue doing their thing. And for those on the PlayStation side, our Hoove brothers, I hope you all get the game and shut the hell up and leave Jamie alone. Finally,
they are the escapees from the Arkham Asylum, and they are always on the hunt for Jamie. And you know what's funny? Jamie puts out these very fun, thought-provoking, time to get excited about a game tweets. And of course, he'll say, Mass Effect was great. Why are you such an Xbox?
Yeah.
I don't understand it, but look, at the end of the day, folks, we've hit the 90+ minute mark. I want to get everyone out of here. A big thank you to the super chat from Will Broke Boy Lewis that dropped in here. Well, again, we understand that it's tough around the world for everybody, and if you're just here for the view, that is awesome. We ask for nothing. And we are always grateful if we do get super chats on the back end, and of course we then turn those around not only into giveaways, but we do we try to expand on it every year. I don't know what the rest of the year is going to look like because again finances are tough for everyone, including me and Mrs. Boom, because we obviously are saving for our first home. So we're going to deliver as we always do. I don't know if it's going to be as stout as it's been in years past because again it's just. Finances are tough for everybody, but gentlemen, great show, great opinions. Thank you for the 5 minute where I had to step away talking about Towerborn. I just watched literally when you guys were talking the trailer. It looks so freaking good. Oh my god, I cannot wait to get into that. Launching into Xbox Game Pass on the 29th of this month. I'm very excited for that. But let's get everyone out of here. We'll start first with Jamie Moran. Jamie, you have a show happening later today, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, or because the time difference, it might be an hour before or an hour later. So obviously we'll help you promote it because obviously we pushed the clocks forward. You haven't done that yet. But his podcast, ladies and gentlemen, is called All Things Xbox, and himself along with Logan Meyer deliver a great show where, of course, they invoke a lot of fun, which is what you're supposed to do when you talk about video games. Brother, sell the brand. Where could people subscribe to the Jamie Moran or, of course, the Elusive Gamer channel on YouTube? And more importantly, where could they follow you on social media?
Yeah, thanks, Boom. It's always a pleasure talking with you guys on this show. So yeah, my YouTube channel is The Elusive Game. I exclusively cover Xbox with a bunch of Mass Effect and other stuff thrown in as well. Try and keep it, no fanboy stuff or whatever. And All Things Xbox podcast is on Tuesdays at 6 p.m. Eastern. We're keeping it along with the US time because it turns out about 95% of my audience are from the US. So
there you go.
It makes more sense for them. But yeah, so that's 6 p.m. Eastern. It's going to be fun tonight. And I'm probably going to have some rage at some point tonight about Rockstar Games. Long story. It should be a fun time. Hope everyone jumps in chat. And that is the Elusive Gamer YouTube channel. And my Twitter is Jamie Moran UK, where it's exclusively gaming and jokes. I also do Blue Sky and Threads occasionally. It's all fun there.
Well, brother, thank you so much for joining us as you always do. And of course, Infinite Umbra, let's talk about The Fix. You and Daniel McGee drop an amazing show each and every Thursday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 7 p.m. Chi-Town time. Obviously, there's a lot to get into. Daredevil Born Again. I'm not sure if you've seen it, but Jesus, I
got to catch up on that.
Wow.
I have so much to watch. It's actually insane. From Daredevil to finishing up Severance. Have you all watched Severance before?
I have not seen Severance. I have not seen it as of yet. My brother's talking about I should have been checking out Reacher. The new season.
That's another one. Season 3 is out. I gotta watch that too.
Yeah, dude. He's on me about that. But I can tell you that Daredevil Born Again picks up right where the Netflix show ended. The showrunner is the guy that made the Punisher series.
Nice.
Episode 4, I think, is already available, which I'm going to watch as soon as I'm done here. And supposedly it's going to have some big Punisher. By the way, speaking of which, I don't know whether you heard about this, Umbra. Punisher, John Berthile is the actor. They're giving him an hour-plus special next year. It's going to be Marvel Knights Presents, which is, of course, the darker part of Marvel.
Right.
He's writing and directing.
Wow.
And it's going to be incredibly violent. It's going to pick up where the show ends, where his part of the show ends in season 1 and rolls into season 2. I'm very excited for it.
Sounds
and yes, they are making, and by the way, if you didn't know who the Marvel Knights are, it is the dark end of Marvel. They are making a Blade-led Midnight Suns film. And of course, Punisher is a part of the Midnight Suns. Again, this is where I get into my geekdom. I'm a huge trades fan. I love MCU stuff. And like
Gotta
I said,
have you on when we talk about some MCU stuff.
Yeah, I definitely jump on for that because I could just go for hours.
Yeah.
I wish I had the time to do my own show. Like I watch I don't know if you watch them, Awesome Emergency with Charlie.
Oh yeah, Emergency Awesome.
He's
yeah.
great. And check out the Den of Nerds with Josh.
I think
Den
I've
of
watched
Nerds
it
is
before.
phenomenal. Great podcaster. But sell the brand, brother. Where can people subscribe to The Fix? And more importantly, where can people follow you on social media?
Yes, y'all. And it don't stop. Well, of course, find me on Twitter or Blue Sky, whatever social media. Typically, you'll find me under Infinite Umbra or Umbra Infinite. You'll find me either way. As Boom alluded to, The Fix on Thursdays, this Thursday, to be exact, at 8 o'clock Eastern, 7 o'clock Chicago, as he says, Central Time. And Friday, of course, the Infinite Podcast, myself, Risky for the Biscuit, that Blue Number, Spriggan, aka Dante Moody, and Garuda Intruder when he's around. So yeah, come through for that as well. And yeah, appreciate you all in the chat. Definitely going to try to iron out what we'll be talking about this week. I'm pretty sure we'll talk about some wrestling. We had the, John Cena spoke the other day. We got to talk about that. And we're going to talk about
heel, the one of the best turns in wrestling.
Oh yeah, easily, and he's so
that
guy
is like me, Mr. Goody Two Shoes. Salute and wow.
Yeah, imagine after all these years, 20 plus years, whatever. Now he's finally full heel. It's good to see.
Yeah.
People are asking me to sing us out of here. I'll just sing a little bit. Keep your electric eye on me, babe. All right, I won't go too far.
I love it. Well, brother, thank you again for being here, gentlemen. Chat, thank you so much for hanging out with us. We had over nearly 700 people watching live across our one viewer on Twitch. Welcome, Twitch viewer, as well as X/ of course, X or Twitter, and more importantly, YouTube. If you're not subscribed, folks, you're doing it all wrong. I'm here to tell you, we are 231 subscribers away from 16K, folks. Come on, help a brother out here. Let us get to 16K. It'd be a great way to kind of close out the first quarter of the year. And we can get there with your help. Obviously, if you enjoy the conversation, please consider subscribing. I will be breaking this show down into smaller, more digestible videos. Some are going to run maybe around 20 minutes, maybe a pinch more, depending on the conversation. I do cut out a lot of the in-between stuff to make it easier for, working parents that are just super busy, students, whatever. And I've gotten a lot of really good feedback. I dropped 2 videos this morning from yesterday. Go check them out. They have South of Midnight gameplay, as well as some new Avowed gameplay. Go check that out. And of course, I'm going to close out the show, ladies and gentlemen, with something that's incredibly important to me. Hopefully, one day it'll be important to you. And that's something that my dad taught us when we were kids. And he would say, Craig, treat others how you want to be treated. And also, it doesn't cost anything to be nice. You live by those rules, son. I can guarantee you're going to have an awesome day. So take care, everyone. And we'll see you next week on the newest episode of the Xbox Factor Podcast.